I was living my perfect love story until I found myself completely naked in the middle of nowhere. And what happened next still haunts me to this day. Hey everyone. Today I'm going to share with you the most embarrassing experience of my life. I'm talking about the kind of mortifying moment where all you want to do is dig a hole and disappear forever. Now I can laugh about it, and I know you'll get some good laughs from my story too. But in that moment, I swear all I felt was pure shame, that cold feeling in your stomach, and I felt like the worst person in the world. Before I dive into this crazy story, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share this video because trust me, you won't want to miss how this unfolds. And please, don't leave before the end because what I discovered about our missing clothes will absolutely shock you. So here's what happened. Last New Year's Eve, I met someone very special. You know how they say when things are meant to happen, they just happen? Well, this guy was studying at the same university as me. Our campus is huge, absolutely massive, but somehow I had never crossed paths with this guy before. Never. And right there on New Year's Eve, on a crowded beach, right at the countdown moment, our eyes met, and I felt something inexplicable. It was love at first sight. This guy approached me and my group of friends, we started talking, and we kissed right there. He was the first man I kissed that year, and let me tell you, it had been a very long time since I had kissed anyone. I'm talking over a year without being with anyone. I've always been a homebody, you know? I'm very much a relationship person. From that day on, we were inseparable. We started dating, and suddenly, after just 15 days, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I was completely smitten, absolutely on fire. I was climbing the walls with desire, and so was he. But due to lack of opportunity, and also because I was a bit cautious, I wanted to wait at least a month. I wanted to take things slow, you know? Plus, he lived with 2 friends. He's not actually from our city. He's from a small town about 3 hours away. Since he studies here, he rented this apartment with some friends, sharing the space, and there was no privacy. I couldn't go to his place to be comfortable with him, and I live with my parents and my sister. God forbid I bring a man home, especially at the beginning of a relationship. He actually invited me to spend a weekend at a motel, but I've never liked motels. I have a certain aversion to them. The energy feels so heavy there. I've had bad experiences in those places before, and I don't even like to remember them. I much prefer traveling and staying in hotels, that more family-friendly environment, that more pleasant atmosphere, but we didn't have enough time off to do that. So he said to me, "Babe, I think for us to be comfortable, it'll have to be during carnival." Speaking of carnival, he told me he wanted to introduce me to his family. We would travel together. I was so happy about that. The relationship was indeed moving fast, but it was something serious. I talked to my parents at home, told them I had met someone, that he had asked me to be his girlfriend. My parents wanted to meet this guy, so they prepared a Sunday lunch. Everyone loved him, everyone really liked my boyfriend, and now I was even more radiant, counting the days to travel with him. With this trip, we would finally have an intimate moment. It would be something uniquely ours, and it was exactly that. Carnival arrived, we had been dating for a little over a month, and we traveled. I was counting the hours to meet his family. I confess I was a bit nervous too, but I was more anxious to live unique moments with my love. I wanted to go out. I wanted to walk through the countryside. I'm passionate about nature. I wanted to live. I wanted to have the best carnival of our lives. When we got there, his hometown was one of those end-of-the-world places, you know? One house in the south, another in the north, and around the house lots of land, lots of trees, lots of animals. It's that kind of place for people who really want to escape the city. But honey, if you need help, you better run because it takes time to find the next house. Anyone from the countryside will understand me, but I confess I love places like that. When we arrived at my boyfriend's house, his mother was a wonderful lady, his father too. He also has a sister there, an aunt. The house was full of people. Plus, other people had also come there to spend carnival because in this countryside there's a river, and this river is quite popular. When I saw all these people, I thought, where are we going to have privacy here? This is worse than in the city. The house was packed with people. There were elderly ladies, children, dogs, cats. It was conversation here, conversation there all day long. Everyone was laughing, everyone was barbecuing, it was quite fun. But my boyfriend had that fire in him, and I also confess to you, I was climbing the walls. Every kiss this man gave me, my God, I was seeing stars. You must be thinking, what fire, right? Think about it. a year without doing anything, and suddenly you're faced with a passionate guy who's also crazy to make you radiant, if you know what I mean. On the first night, we were in this middle of nowhere place, everyone talking, people grilling meat, people in front of the house making noise. My boyfriend looked at me with that look, you know, that man's look when he's in the mood, driving me crazy. He grabbed my hand and said, "Love, let's go over there. There's a beautiful place I want to show you. Let's go see some stars." I didn't take it seriously when he said we were going to see some stars. I thought it was just a figure of speech, but literally, we were going to see stars. We started walking through the countryside, lots of trees, lots of orange trees, lemon trees, and he kept walking to get far from the house, quite distant. But while we were walking, we could still hear people's voices, the noise. The lights were getting weaker, but it was still possible to understand that we were close to the residence. He kept walking more and more until we passed through a field that was all enclosed with wire and everything. There were some trees, and he said to me, "Let's go through here. Let's jump over this wire. There's a very good tree inside." I can't take it anymore, my love. I'm climbing the walls. At that moment, I confessed to you that I hadn't planned to have our first time like this, in the middle of nowhere, standing up in the woods, I don't know. But honey, I was sure that if it didn't happen there, it would take much longer. I agreed to this crazy idea. I went through the wire, he also went through, and we kept walking. He would stop, show me the sky, give me that delicious kiss, that wonderful touch, and nothing about this tree arriving. When we reached this blessed place, it looked more like a forest. There were some cashew trees. It was very dark, only the moonlight, and even then it was quite dark. We had left the house without taking our phones because phones didn't get signal there anyway. We leaned against this tree that had a trunk lying down like this. I remember it like it was today because the next day we went back to this place. But anyway, you'll understand. The tree was perfect for us. We started kissing madly. This man drove me crazy. He started taking off all my clothes, and as he took off my clothes, he threw them far away. He didn't have much awareness. I think he was fulfilling his fantasy. He also took off his clothes and threw them far away. We started making love. We started doing that good movement. My God, at that moment I wasn't thinking about anything. I let my voice out. He let his voice out. It was that good moan, and we were crazy with desire. I have to tell you that it was the best intimate experience I've ever had. My God, what craziness, what good craziness. But then, my loves, after a few minutes of this delicious movement, where were our clothes? We couldn't find them. Everything was dark as pitch. We crouched down looking for these clothes. I started arguing with my boyfriend. Where did you throw these clothes? Why did you throw them? Why didn't you leave these blessed pieces here close to us, for the love of God? And now, where are they? He said, "Calm down, love. They'll appear." Could some animal have come here and taken them? Could a dog have dragged these clothes? How, people? While we were there, I swear to you that I didn't hear anything. I didn't feel anyone's presence. I only know that we stayed there for a few minutes walking around that area looking for the clothes, and nothing. The clothes disappeared. My bra, my panties, a dress. He was wearing shorts with a shirt and a cap. Everything mysteriously disappeared. And now we were there in the middle of the woods, naked, alone, without a phone that wouldn't get signal anyway, and his house that only had one entrance, right in front, full of people grilling meat. How were we going to get in there? How was I going to go back to my mother-in-law's house completely without clothes? I was desperate. At that moment, what was supposed to be good became a nightmare. I started shaking. My anxiety kicked in. I started saying many things to my boyfriend. I said it was his fault. Figure it out. Get out of here. Start hunting for these clothes. They wouldn't disappear like this by themselves. Someone came here. Someone took them. And with that, I got even more worried. There were many people at his house. It was the only house nearby. I was sure that someone had been there. Someone had heard our moans. Maybe they didn't see the movement because of the darkness, but someone took our clothes on purpose so that we would go through this embarrassing moment. My God, and now what are we going to do? You might even doubt it, but my boyfriend looked at me and said, "The only solution is for us to walk to the banana trees at the end of the field. We're going to make a loincloth, some clothes without sewing, and I don't know, go with courage." I said, "No, my love, I'm not going to embarrass myself like that in any way. I'm not going to arrive in front of your family members wrapped in banana leaves. No, You're going to go back to your house alone, make some excuse, pay for your embarrassment, get a piece of my clothing and bring it. Because, darling, if I have to do this with you, I prefer that you take my suitcase and I go back to my house right now. I'm not going to go through this humiliation. My boyfriend started laughing, said I was exaggerating, that his family is very playful, everyone would laugh with us, that this happens, it was an adventure, it was an unforgettable experience. He was always very playful, but at that moment I was so angry, so hateful that I couldn't laugh. I was desperate. People, do you realize this? First, I didn't know what had happened. Second, I was among strange people. It was his family, not mine. Anyway, he did as I asked. He wrapped himself in some banana leaves, covered his private parts, covered his butt, and when he got to the front door, I stayed hidden behind a tree waiting for this man to come back with my clothes. I only heard his family's laughter. People. But it was very funny. Everyone started laughing, everyone making jokes with that different accent. I was laughing hidden from him, of course, imagining the embarrassment he was going through. But on the other hand, my God, I thought, when I go back to the house, I'll be the next victim. Of course they're going to laugh. Of course they're going to want to know what happened. Of course they'll have a story to tell. Someone played a prank on us. By the way, everyone was laughing. I was sure that someone there had set up a prank for us. A very bad taste prank, by the way. But there was nothing to be done. I wanted my clothes. My boyfriend took a long time there with the family members, also laughing a lot. I even started to think that he knew everything. Oh, if he knew everything, I was going to end my relationship with him. After a long time, me naked, getting bitten by various mosquitoes, revolted and upset, my boyfriend came back all dressed up. This unfortunate man even took a shower while I was there waiting. Anyway, all dressed up with my clothes, laughing and saying, "Love, the gang died laughing. I had to tell them in parts what happened. I couldn't hide it, but don't worry, I talked to them. I asked everyone to bury this story, not to comment anything with you so you don't feel awkward, and you can be sure my family is very good. You can rest assured that nothing will happen." But I was going back to the house thinking, my God, what embarrassment. This is very shameful. I said to him, "Love, gosh, I'm so ashamed of your parents, of your family. I don't think I'll be able to continue here. Tomorrow early I want to leave. It's very embarrassing. For you maybe not, but for me as a woman, yes, it's a huge embarrassment. My God, how am I going to look at your father, your uncle? People, there are children in the house." Well, at the moment of passion, I didn't think about any of this, right? I just wanted to put out the fire, and at that moment, I was regretful. It was exactly like that. However, when I returned to the house, to my boyfriend's farm, thank God his family surprised me. The first thing they did was all leave the front of the house so I could arrive without being ashamed, so I wouldn't face them directly. The living room was right at the entrance. Then there was a room where my boyfriend and I were staying. With that, the family all stayed in the kitchen. I ran into the house, went to the room, took a shower, and didn't get out of bed at all. My boyfriend came into the room, brought me barbecue, talked to me, was very affectionate, said I was delicious, that he couldn't stop thinking about our adventure, but that I should put this shame aside, that tomorrow would be a new day, nobody would touch on the subject. I did what he asked. I tried to take it in stride, even though at that moment it was very difficult. We went to sleep cuddled up, exchanged some kisses, and you might ask, "Yes, friend, why didn't you hold that fire so that when you went to sleep together, you could finally make love?" People. How was I going to make love inside a room in his family's house full of people, full of children? The fire I had, do you think I was going to be able to do that silently, do the bare minimum? No, there was no way. I'm not regretful at all, but it remained a mystery in the air. My clothes and his clothes disappeared. The next day we went back to the place, we looked for everything, we walked around the area, and we found nothing. Who took our clothes? Only God knows. My God, this mystery remained. I was worried. I was scared because even my panties went with them. But according to him, when he talked to his mother said that in that region there are some foxes. My God, just remembering that I was in the middle of nowhere with the risk of encountering foxes makes me tremble with fear. Anyway, she said it could have been an animal. It was certainly an animal. Forget about it, my son. Nobody did this to you. I guarantee it wasn't anyone from this house. If it was some neighbor who came from beyond and ended up encountering that, I don't know either. I only know, my love, that this story remained to tell you. Today we're together, we're doing well, we're at peace, more in love than ever. My boyfriend worked it out with his friend so that now he only lives with one. The other one left the apartment so that both can have unique moments in the apartment. So with that, when the friend goes out to be with his girlfriend, I run there, and it's at that moment that we satisfy our desire. And look, the fire is still high. That's my story, and I have to tell you something important. This isn't actually my story. This is a real story from a follower on another social media platform who shared it with me. I was so moved by this incredible and embarrassing experience that I had to share it with all of you. I want to thank this follower for trusting me with such a personal and funny story. These real-life experiences remind us that sometimes the most embarrassing moments make the best stories later on. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share this video with your friends. I'd love to hear in the comments if any of you have ever lived through a similar adventure trying to, well, put out the fire. Leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Take care of yourselves, and remember, sometimes our most embarrassing moments become our most cherished memories. Until next time.